What would you do if your faith was the only thing keeping your child alive? This is the extraordinary testimony of Sister Barbara, a mother, a warrior, and a believer who faced one of the most challenging seasons of her life. From battling a high-risk pregnancy to holding on to hope in the face of dire predictions, Barbara's journey is a testament to the power of faith and prayer. Stay with us as we share this powerful story of miracles, perseverance, and God's unfailing love. The warrior's testimony of Sister Barbara had just married the father of her first child of 5 years. Even though they were in the process of moving an hour and 30 minutes away, they proceeded with the wedding. Barbara and their son moved to the new house first. After 6 months of marriage and driving back and forth to visit each other, Barbara felt unwell, burping for 3 days straight. She took a pregnancy test while her husband waited by the bathroom door, laughing and saying, "I told you so." The test turned positive, and after taking 2 more, all of which were positive, she handed the tests to her husband and went to bed. She was scared and worried. Her first pregnancy had made her very sick, and with her husband so far away, she wondered how she'd manage. At 2 months, the morning sickness worsened. She went to the hospital due to dehydration and was diagnosed with hyperemesis. They prescribed medication, hoping it would help since the sickness would only stop once the baby was born. Abortion was not an option, but after months of struggling to eat, losing 25 pounds, dehydration, and severe vitamin deficiencies, the pills to help her drink water felt heaven sent. Barbara tried natural remedies, coconut water, protein shakes, acupuncture, and changes to her diet, cutting out oils, sugar, and any foods with strong scents. She tried everything. 4 months into her pregnancy, Barbara visited her old church. She missed the familiarity and comfort of her church family. That Sunday was sunny and peaceful, and she felt right at home. The pills were working, so she wasn't feeling as sick, and she was delighted to tell them she was expecting a baby girl. Barbara returned home feeling calmer and happier. Her church informed her that they were having a new pastor visit for an upcoming revival service. Barbara promised to try to attend, though her pregnancy had made her very ill. The week of the revival, Barbara fell sick again and couldn't attend. The following week, she received a phone call from an unknown number. She answered, thinking it might be one of her doctors. A man on the line introduced himself as Pastor Mike and said he'd had a vision about her and her pregnancy. Barbara was intrigued and asked him to continue. He told her he'd seen a vision that her baby would pass away, but God had told him to pray for her, and she needed to attend one of his services so he could do so. Barbara was upset, but said she would try to come, as she did not want to lose her baby. Prior to Pastor Mike's call, Barbara had had a dream where she played with 2 babies, and one was taken from her. She connected this dream to Pastor Mike's vision, so she told her husband. Her husband said he would come stay with her for the weekend since she was too ill to travel. That very day, Barbara was unable to keep anything down, from water to a single bite of food. Exhausted, she fell asleep. When her husband arrived, he found her on the floor, too weak to sit up. Barbara started to cry, saying, "I don't want to lose my baby. I don't know her yet, but she's my little person." The following day, Barbara decided that if she couldn't see the pastor, she would pray to God herself. She sat on the floor and cried, saying, "Lord Jesus, you gave me this child. I am your daughter, and I do not believe you would take this child away just because a man of God couldn't pray over me. Lord Jesus, I've carried this pregnancy through sickness and exhaustion. Please protect my baby." Day after day, she continued praying, believing that God wouldn't take her baby from her. In her 7th month, Barbara went to the doctor, who told her there was a hole in the baby's heart. She cried, worried about her child's future, but continued to pray, saying, "Lord, I know my baby will be healthy, happy, and strong." A few months later, the family found an apartment close to her doctor's and her child's school, and Barbara got started decorating a room for the baby. Her son was overjoyed, placing his hands on her stomach to feel his sister move and talking to her about all the fun they would have together. Throughout her pregnancy, Barbara made regular trips to the hospital for fluids and IVs to replenish her lost nutrients. During one visit, the doctors mentioned the baby might show signs of autism. Barbara prayed, placing her hands on her stomach. Lord, my baby will be healthy, happy, and strong. Near Thanksgiving, Barbara and her husband were thrilled to learn that the hole in their baby's heart had nearly closed on its own. It was now so small that it might not impact her health at all. Thankful, Barbara praised God, saying, "How great are you, Lord." The day before her scheduled cesarean on November 28th, Barbara and her husband decided to take a walk around Walmart, hoping to encourage natural labor. She was finally able to eat a meal, salmon, and even developed a craving for it, as it seemed to be the only thing that stayed down. That night, they checked into the hospital for the surgery. As Barbara was being prepped, she briefly flatlined, and the doctors rushed her husband out of the room. Everything went black, but moments later, she was back, looking into the face of a doctor who was telling her to stay with them. They continued with the procedure, and her husband returned to her side. A few moments later, she heard her daughter's first cry, a song of God's greatness. She saw her baby, wrapped in a white blanket, full of hair and utterly perfect. Barbara felt peace, knowing God had brought them safely through. After 2 days in the hospital, Barbara learned that her daughter had no signs of autism. Her vision and hearing were great, and the hole in her heart had completely closed. Quietly, Barbara lifted her hands and said, "How great are you, Lord?" Have you ever experienced a miracle in your life? Share your testimony in the comments below.